Hello, BattleTech fans. All right, so was it worth it? How are we feeling here about the Mercs Kickstarter in review? So I have mine in hand, so I'm reviewing from that perspective. I know plenty of people still don't have it yet. We're definitely over the halfway mark in the U.S., and I'm kind of a good representative pledge in that I pledged close to the average amount, and I got my shipment just on the other side of the halfway mark for the U.S. So I'm going to rate this on the active campaign, Kickstarter communication, time to delivery, the quality of what we received, what the perceived value or savings, if there are any there. And I'll talk a little bit about my customer sentiment, my NPS for Catalyst Kickstarters in general, and give you the cumulative score and final thoughts, right? Let's jump in with the active campaign. So it's always a party. The fun level is generally very high for Catalyst Kickstarters. They are very attentive and all hands on deck during the active campaign. The unlocks here were good. They weren't as surprising, I think, for me having gone through Clan Invasion. You know, we unlocked some additional force packs. Somerset Strikers was a great kind of high point thing to unlock right there at the end. I think the other things we were unlocking was mostly just kind of some Mercs faction goods, pins, extending pins, patches, and coins across different factions. I'd say also the feedback given, taken, and adjustments made during the campaign were actually pretty good. They tuned things up a little bit to get the value a little bit more where it should be. They were listening to us. Maybe not as much as some folks would have liked, but I think overall they did a good job. Surprises, there are very few companies that are willing to deliver you stuff and not tell you that you're going to get them as part of the campaign. In fact, I think Catalyst may be the only one that's tried to do this. It's been spoiled both times by things leaking, but you know what? I really appreciate it. I think it is very smart too. It's very impactful. There's a lot of customer goodwill that goes towards doing that too. So yes, we knew our Savannah Masters were coming, but still, it's awesome. And the Adepticon coverage happening right at the close of the campaign, you know, what a celebration of BattleTech. I normally don't sit around and watch hours of live streaming coverage of things, but I tend to do it for this. And the AMAs were really good. You know, just a fun time overall. So to me, you know, it's a real high point, the campaign, the active campaign itself. All right, let's talk about this, and I'm not going to kick a dead horse. If you want to see me clumsily beat the dead horse for 20 minutes, I've got a whole video on the comms, but just in brief, right? They haven't been centralized. They're not very timely or consistent with them. This means they're not controlling the narrative or customer expectations of what's going to happen. That means essentially the internet space, rumors, whispers, what have you, is basically guiding people's sentiment right now on that. It's causing a lot of unnecessary frustration and worry for people, and it's dumb. It could be so avoided. This is a 1-star. Is it the worst Kickstarter comms ever? No. I've had a company blatantly lie to me for months on end. That's probably the worst. But for 28,000 people sitting here in as part of the Kickstarter backers, and this is what they're doing, I think it deservedly gets the 1-star. Easily fixable, but hey. Time to delivery. Are they the tortoise or the hare here? You know, they're about a month late. I received mine on August 30th. Again, just over the halfway mark for US backers. Rest of the world, we still don't really know how that's going to play out. So a little late is super common for Kickstarters. I think overall this is probably a 3. It's not amazing. It's not horrible. It is a typical Kickstarter here. Quality of goods. The purity of the plastic crack. I think the mechs and the vehicles are very good. I quite like them now. Having them in hand, they're really good. The dice are good with some minor issues. I know some people have gotten duplicate faces or the faction symbol facing the wrong way. Catalyst and Quartermaster all sort that out for folks, I'm confident. And there's a little bit of settling sometimes with the flake and flash inside there. But overall, these dice are far superior to what we got in Clan Invasion time frame. They could be better though. They could probably go a little ways away from fancy and just go towards gaming dice. But I'm kind of getting off track here. Faction merch, always love it. Excellent. Coins, patches, pins, they are dope. IS battle armor is very meh to even melty. I think it's borderline a true quality issue for them there. I think they just make it passable. Posters, I showed that in my unboxing. We've got these stress lines where the paper's folding, and sometimes that's damaging image quality. Again, I think it's borderline of a quality issue for them. Overall, though, darn good stuff. Darn good stuff. Just like last time with Clan Invasion, again, 4 stars here for me. Really good. All right, so perceived value and any savings that we have here. I'm roughly doing this off of my pledge. Anything with a dash next to it there in that checklist are essentially things with the company pledge, and anything with a price next to it is what I paid in add-on cost with my shipping of $38. That brings me just under $300 magically. With tax, it goes over. But that's what it shakes out to be. Now, if I weigh that off of some early online retailer prices for some of these things and make some best guesses on where some prices will land, it looks like this for what you could potentially buy at retail. Now, are the salvage boxes really going to be $7 and in quantity enough to be had? I don't know. The other things, the faction merch, dice trays, the 100mm Timberwolf, I don't even know. Some of that stuff is going to be popped up on the Catalyst game store for purchase. But again, in what quantity and how much will it be? And that will have shipping for it. But I kind of look and say, I could probably get the majority of my pledge, at least the minis, from retail, and it would come out to be 256 or almost 257 on the nose. And if I weigh that against essentially the what I paid for the additional the bonuses, the additional content, the merch. That would be $42.05. And did I get $42.05 worth of value out of that stuff in blue? And I think the answer is a heavy yes. It's probably double that for all of those things there. So I think there is a quote unquote savings. You always tend to overbuy a little bit in Kickstarter land. But yes, I think for that savings and also kind of being assured that I'm going to get what I want, that's also worth something too. So to me, this is 4 stars. 5 stars is probably, again, Clan Invasion, running theme here. Clan Invasion was just a little bit better in the value quotient, and I pledged maybe only $50 more and got a ton more plastic. But yeah, still overall very, very good. So let's talk about customer sentiment here, NPS, Net Promoter Score. So generally what companies do when they release a product or a service, they have these surveys, which you may be familiar with, of on a scale of 0 to 10 or 0 to 11, 10 being you're going to rave at me to your neighbors and tell everybody to buy what you just bought, all the way down to 0, which is you're going to release an op-ed in the local paper and tell the world about how my company is the second coming of the Antichrist. This is generally what they're trying to measure, and what they want to see is they want it to be an N, a Net Promoter Score. They want to have more promoters than they have detractors at the end of the day. So for me, going into Mercenaries, I was probably at an 8 or a 9 in Catalyst Kickstarters. I'd only ever participated in Clan Invasion. And for what I pledged, they delivered extremely well to me. So that's where I was sitting. Here, watching Catalyst work both mercenaries, and also, frankly, leviathans, I have moved more towards a 7 or a 6. So I've slid down the scale. That's not good for you, Catalyst. Um, but I think overall, what I would say is I would advise people to back with some heavy caution notes. And I'll talk about those caution notes here in a little bit. The other question you always ask is, would you do it again? Would you buy from me again? Will you back again? My answer is still yes, but I'm probably going to dial things back to more at the entry tier level. That's just because I have so much of the stuff that I want now. So final thoughts on things. And we'll talk about how I caution people as well too. I think net negatives. On the negative side of the scale, you're weighing comms, shipping cost, goods at retail potentially before people have their goods in hand from pledges, and just the delivery time overall, how long that's taking. And you weigh that against the product itself, which is really good, those more exclusive bits, and some savings in some cases. I think the savings and shipping costs are diametrically opposed right now. I'll link a good article in the notes about how kind of maybe the golden age of crowdfunding is coming to a close. Overall, I would say to people, if you're in the US and you care about some of the extras, backing the BattleTech Kickstarters is awesome. If you're in the rest of the world or you don't care about patches or pins, I would heavy caution you going into backing a CGL Kickstarter. And so I land, for me personally, if you looked at all those scores, they averaged about a 3 or a 4. My BattleTech love firmly moves this into Camp 4. But, again, some of us in the US not done yet. Definitely in the rest of the world not done yet. Where are you at with your rating? Do you think my 4 stars is correct? Do you think it should be more 3? Am I being too harsh? Should it be 5? Let me know in the comments. Always have fun chatting with you all, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.